Pinocchio 1.
Geppetto was an old carpenter who made wooden puppets. One day, he made a new puppet and named him Pinocchio. He had almost finished making the puppet when its legs started to move. Pinocchio jumped off the table and ran out into the street. Late that evening, Pinocchio returned home because he was hungry. The next day, Geppetto made Pinocchio some clothes for school. Then Pinocchio said, "Now all I need is an ABC book." To buy the book, Geppetto sold his only coat. With his new book in his hand, Pinocchio hurried off to school. On his way to school, Pinocchio heard strange music and followed it. He arrived at the great puppet theater. Pinocchio sold his new book to buy a ticket to see the show. He was excited as he watched the show. Suddenly, the music stopped, and the puppets on stage called out his name. "Pinocchio, come up on stage," the puppets said. While he was climbing up on stage, the crowd grew angry at the interruption. Just then, the director came out from the side of the stage to see what was happening. He grabbed Pinocchio by the neck. "Come with me," he said in an angry voice. He asked Pinocchio many questions. He had decided to use Pinocchio as a piece of wood for his fire, but Pinocchio told him about his poor father. The director felt sorry for Pinocchio. He gave Pinocchio 5 gold coins and told him to go home. On his way home, Pinocchio met a fox and a cat. They told Pinocchio that he could double his 5 gold coins in the fields outside the city of Simple Simons. Pinocchio followed them, and they stayed at an inn that night. Meanwhile, Geppetto became worried about Pinocchio and started searching for him. Pinocchio woke up and realized that his new friends had left the inn. He continued to travel toward the city of Simple Simons. Pinocchio heard a strange sound in the bushes behind him. He turned to look, and 2 robbers in black jumped out. "Your money or your life," a deep voice said. Pinocchio had put his gold coins in his mouth, so he could not say a word. "We will hurt your father if you don't give us your gold coins," they said. "No!" cried Pinocchio. The gold coins tinkled in his mouth. Now the robbers knew where the gold coins were. They tried to pull open Pinocchio's mouth, but he was too strong. He escaped from them and ran into the forest. The robbers chased after Pinocchio. They caught him and hung him from a tall tree. However, they got tired of waiting for the money to drop from his mouth and left. The next day, a lady looked out of her cottage window. She saw Pinocchio hanging from the tree and clapped her hands 3 times. A large bird flew down to the cottage. The lady was actually a fairy, and she had magical powers. She ordered the bird to cut the rope and bring Pinocchio to her. Pinocchio told the fairy about the robbers and his gold coins. "Where are the gold coins now?" the fairy asked. "I lost them," answered Pinocchio, but he was telling a lie. The gold coins were still in his pocket. As he spoke, his nose grew longer.